here. There we go. Got my pointer here. Scroll up real quick. Here's November 6th, 2023. Okay, and we got the loop playing here. You can see we had another huge blast, another CME come off right here. Alright, and that looks to be heading our direction. And at the angle it's going, it looks to go like right in front of the Earth. The Earth rotates in this direction, the sun. So this blast, if it comes straight out this way, would be more our direction. But this is going to be just out in front of the Earth right here, I think. And it looks to be bringing a lot of plasma and a lot of energy with it again. So this has been like a day after day barrage of these objects causing chaos on the sun here. So I'll just let that loop play for a second here. A few last little fine adjustments. And what's funny about this one is yesterday I was trying to capture the little dark object over here on the red side and it didn't work very well. Well, this one is nice and clear, so we're going to freeze frame right about there. And then we're going to zoom in, start pulling this over a little bit. And you can clearly see our dark round object right here with plasma streaming back behind it. You can see its magnetic field around it that's caused the plasma to be out in front of it here. And so you can see its magnetic field. You can see the object. Let's go another frame. Let's back up a few, go through this. Pretty much every frame you can see this object over here on the red side. Okay, then what I'm going to do is we'll slide over here to this side and do it on this side. So let me back up. It's so bright over here with the plasma kind of blinding the camera that sometimes this doesn't get as good of a shot as the red side does. Now our object is right in here. Watch this here. Okay, do you see this red line? This comes all the way back a big. Here, let me zoom in way harder so you guys can see here. All right. Here's the boundary right here, except it cuts way back like this, and then for this V-shape effect to connect to this object right there. You can see the object right there, the little black round object. We'll go in as tight as we can now. Not too hard to see, but we'll go even more. Alright, so you can see the object, you can see how it's affecting the instrumentation there, putting the big deep V-type dent in the readings here. Okay, it's reaching back to the magnetic field of this object to react to it. So let's pull back out of this now. And as you kind of get further back, you can see it, how this is the boundary right here, except it has this huge jagged indentation to it, V-shaped indentation reacting to the object that's right there. Okay, and then let me try to pull this over just a little bit better. Okay, so now we know where the object is. We're tracking it. It still has this V-shaped, well, now kind of a box-shaped indentation, but it's still making the instrument react. Alright, I believe this is the ghost image of it right here. Then we have another event right here. Do you see this curvature, this plasma bow shock on the back side of this round object right here? Let me get... that's a good one. There's not like one frame that really shows it nice and clear, but you can clearly see that there is an object here that's damming up plasma. Plasma is coming out of it this direction, hitting it and getting built up behind it and damming up behind it, creating this bow shock type on the backside. Okay, so there was an object out front, or an object, yeah, out front, and then we have this secondary one right here. All right, so those are the ones you can clearly see. Sorry about that. Then what I want to do here is we want to back out about right there and then start this forward. Okay, now what looks to be going on here, watch when this comes out, it stretches really wide. There appears to be a bigger object back there, and the two objects we just covered are the little moons, one out front and one down below here. It's kind of hard to see. It really doesn't make quite the most defined, but you can see that there's a bigger object and these are the moons to it. And you see how this still keeps shooting plasma out at it? Not spitting, sputtering, but just like still. Boom, 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 boom. So we'll let that play for another second there. And it has to be kind of pulled back from a further perspective, further back to see the bigger objects a little further out. I think I just saw a little indicator. Oh yeah. It's very faint though. You can see this round part right here is the magnetic field of the smaller object right here. But look at this curvature right back here. That's the bigger object, and then right about, is it there? No, it's right about back here. You can kind of see this curvature. It comes out, it's bubbling and going over. Let's see if we can capture this. It's not the most defined. You can see this line right here is kind of the backside of the object, and you can see this plasma coming out and then kind of bending and going over. That kind of tells me there's a bigger object back there. Let's just start it kind of zoomed in like this and see if the camera captures it at all. And that's kind of too zoomed in. Yeah, almost there. Maybe if we speed it up a little bit. There. And you see these repetitive strikes after it passes. Instead of having the stretched teardrop, this thing just keeps, the sun keeps reacting to that because it's got a huge magnetic field. Just like 6 or 7 times after it passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so in this one, it's not like trying to zoom in and capture the backside or something. It's more captured in the speed here by speeding it up. Something else. Let's slow down just a little bit. Pull over to this side. You see this little spire of plasma? See how at the beginning it's way down here, and then when this moves by, note how it takes this upper part and stretches it, almost kind of like bubbles it out a little bit. That's the indicator too of a bigger object back behind there. Let's see if we put it up and tint it out just a little bit. No, maybe right about there on the next one. Yeah, you can. It's a ghostly image. It's really hard to see and detect, but seems to be a bigger magnetic field or a bigger object, and that these are two moons that are accompanying it. All right, so there's your activity on the sun for today. It's been a day after day barrage of just multiple CMEs, multiple objects. A lot going on the sun right now. And you can even see there's some other ones that we didn't even talk about here. Let's just look at that for a minute. There's other little ones sneaking through there. Outer moons or something to this bigger object. When you see these other ones, little ones that are out in front here, the big object, the ones that are right next to it, and then trailing moons that are following it. It's almost like its own little solar system or something, with a bigger object, with a bunch of little ones or moons or satellites, satellite objects around it. Okay, not necessarily like satellites that report information or anything like that. Satellite is more in the term of orbiting body around a main body. Okay, that kind of satellite. And then you can see stuff right before the big blast coming, and then the big blast, and then other ones trailing along. Let's go in just a tad bit tighter. That's quite a lot to look at there. So let's no. Right about there. Get out of the way. Yeah, I guess that's best right about there. Alright, so a lot of activity going on. Ooh, did you see that stripe going through there? Huh. Here on the black and white side, we have some streaking going through there. It's really faint on this side, it doesn't pick it up, but you can see that there's something going through there at this frame. So there's the frame, and then a couple frames later, there's the ghost image. And then we have our event here. Alright, so there's the activity on the sun for today. Then, before we move on, we'll move away from this instrument. Let's go back 3 days real quick and look at our activity for tomorrow's incoming. So tomorrow will be the 7th. That means we go back to the 4th and see what came off the sun on the 4th. Yes, this day. Alright, let's let that kind of load up real quick there. While it's doing that, I hope everybody's doing good tonight. I hope everybody's in there. Keep fighting a good fight. Pray off. Evangelizing. Maybe, hopefully, you've won a couple of hearts towards Jesus and his cause. Anyway, so here we go. This big old blossom right here that came off the sun. A couple of little other things, but I'm more this right here and all the energy and power that's come with that. That looks to be going towards us, but over the northern hemisphere. Okay, so tomorrow probably affects on the northern hemisphere of our planet more so than the southern. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. The 7th will have more energy coming in on the northern hemisphere of the planet. Okay, and we come back over to our space solar ham. Where is the ham? Sam. All right, here we go. Here's your box for today. Boom, 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 boom. You can see all those multiple shots that we just watched today. Okay, so here it's reacting kind of more appropriately to the activity on the sun. And let's go in really tight on this for a moment because there's other stuff I want you to see in here. And it has to be big and in your face to do it. And why can't I pull it over? There we go. That's probably good enough. All right, everything is right below the M class line right here. This is the M line. But starting, we have these two little pops. Boom, boom, boom. We have these little secondary ones, all right? These smaller ones. Remember I was showing you after like the main event, there was all those little pops. Boom, 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 boom. So you can see them. They're in there. They look a little bigger now that I'm so zoomed in on it. But those are those little secondary ones that were coming out. And it's showing here a little small spike there. But I just wanted to show you how that's affecting the GOES X-ray flux. And let's come on back out. Okay, so 80% C flare, 5% X flare, sorry. 20% M flare right now, which is probably just about right. We're probably due for another one if we have any more of these trailing bodies, interacting. We also have a sunspot 3048 or 3480 here that's gone beta gamma, so we'll have to watch that carefully. Now over here to our KP index. Where's it best? Like right there. All right. So you can see we had this event yesterday. All right. Everybody kind of got caught off guard by that. They thought it was a little early, but I was saying this is proper. This is one that we saw coming. And then we saw another one coming for today. All right. So here it is reacting again. We have KP 5.2 or something like that was the highest it got right there. So you can see it's affecting the KP index a little bit now. Let's go over to our auroras over here. Now they're nice and faint, but the other day they were thick. They were bright green with red and yellow in the middle right here. Okay, so we had we took quite a hit on the chin there, and the poles absorbed it, sent it to the core. The core heated up. It swelled and expanded and left some screeching on the Schumann. And we'll get to that in a second here. Whoops, 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 whoops. Back up. There we go. First, we want to take a peek at the tracker before we go to the Schumann. And let me just zoom in on that for you guys as well. Alright, they're showing this CME kind of going off this way. See these little edges? It's not necessarily the main wave, but you see how these little edges flare off the sides here? So sometimes those edges even clip us. It doesn't look like it's going to this time, but when a CME is kind of close and it's heading away and they show you that bubble, let me zoom in harder on the bubble for you. Okay. We can still see it stretches just a little bit outside of that, so, but it doesn't clip us, so that's good. But still, the object that caused this absorbed a bunch of energy and is still going in the direction of us. Okay, so even though the CME is still heading away, which is thankfully, we don't need any more energy, but still we have an inbound object that still will interact and change the weather, affect the weather, I should say. All right, so pull back out of that. A little bit of good news. The main body of the CME is not heading our way. Okay, so we got energy that came in. It hit the... It hit the atmosphere, got sent to the poles, lit up the auroras. Oh, speaking of which, there was a special aurora called Steve. I know it's just the name is Steve these days, but we had a Steve event for about an hour long. That happened. I should have pulled up that instrument too. Anyways, we had that inbound energy that affected. It got absorbed, caused screeching. Here was our first little screeching event when we had the KP7. Okay, then we got this other secondary event right here that matches up with our KP5. All right, when this energy, it takes a minute for it to affect this instrument. So when the blast, say when the blast arrives and it starts affecting the planet, or starts affecting the auroras, it takes a while for that heat to transfer down in the core to out into the magma, and for the magma to also swell and expand as well. So we don't see the side effects for a good 6 hours, or it used to be 12 hours. It used to seem like it took a little longer. But lately, the boundary between the shell and the core is so close that any kind of event usually translates over within about 4 hours. It's what I've noticed. It's not a set rule. It's just something I've noticed. I tried to hook these up with the blasts coming off the sun, and they never correlated. And it wasn't until I figured out, wait a second, it takes 3 days for it to get here. So I watched for every 3 days, 3 days later, but it still wouldn't correlate. But it sure correlated about 6 to 12 hours later. And I'm like, huh, so this thing is behind? But then it all made sense. Oh, of course, this thing is behind because that takes a while for that heat to transfer to the magma, to the shell, and for the grinding to start occurring. Okay. Anyways, you can see this dark shadow patch right here. A lot of our grinding has stopped. We got a nice calm period right here, and you can see, whoops, I can't zoom in anymore. Well, you see we had a pretty good vibrant magnetic field during this time, okay? Even though the rest of the stuff is pretty dark, ours is pumping along pretty strong. What I want to try to do, it's a little bit better. I'm trying to just focus on this last quadrant of the line right here, okay? See right here, you can see it's brighter green and then a little dimmer green. Right here and right here. You can see it's fluctuating. It came out of this grinding event weak, but then started to gain strength, ground, had a little small grinding event, got weak again, and then a couple more little pops and squeaks, but we're coming out the backside a little weak right now. It shows it pretty good on this one, but yeah, we're pumping along all right. So it's important to kind of follow this and understand how all this works, because soon here in the future, when our magnetic field starts going down and dropping, you're not going to be able to fly in an airplane. You'll get high doses of radiation, so much so you might not be able to go outside. You might have to wear long sleeves, or reflective type, covering clothing during the daytime during one of these events. So you can see it, fluctuating and stuff. And this has been happening ever since this activity on the sun has been causing this. And I'm just saying, in the future, you're going to see this thing waver, get really strong, get really weak, get even possibly go down. I showed you maybe that's what we'll do tonight too, is the day that this core possibly reversed. So I captured the day that it happened and made a video of it. So maybe we'll watch that later or something. But in the meantime, we had our screeching event, came out a little weak, had a small little pop right here, came out of it a little weak, but we're going back to normal for a little bit here. Okay. Actually, no, there's going to be more screeching because we got more energy that's due to hit us on the 7th, right? Remember I showed you what happened on the 4th? It's going to hit us on the 7th. So right now, this is the beginning of the 7th. The energy, like I said, once it arrives, it has to absorb, that has to translate into heat, the swelling, and then the grinding. So we'll be seeing more of these streaks, more like the ones down at this end over here, probably here pretty soon in the next couple of days because we have more inbound energy. Okay. So there's your Schumann for tonight. Let's move on over to the quakage. Just for what happened here? Oh, everything all sideways. All right. Let's get down into here. What is this? There we go. Okay, we'll start off here with our deep quake area. No significant deep quakes for the latter part of the day. There may have been something a little earlier that got kicked off the map, but I don't think so because this is a one-day thing. So, nothing deep right here, but we did have mid-range 4 to 5 energy that was traveling through the system that we watched yesterday. So, as we come up here, first of all, let's back up. Start right here at the very beginning of the system. We got a 4.6 at a depth of 10. That's that mid-range 4 energy heading up into the system. Dumping off a 4.9 at a depth of 10 there. Then, next quake, we got a 5.3 at a depth of 26 and a 5.2 at a depth of 24. So you can see this energy. At some spots, it's mid-range. Other spots are a little weaker, and it pops off a 5. Okay. Hasn't filled in this section, or it could have hopped over, but we got a 5.2. So there's that, that 5 energy. This is at a depth of 172, so it's a little deeper down. That's a little more of a 5.3 or 4, so it's the higher end of that energy. Dumping off a semi-deep quake right there. Then we got your 4.6 right here at a depth of 33, and on the other side a 4.8 at 24. So these are on either side of these boundary lines creeping up through the system there. All right. First, let's take this branch. Remember, we had stuff over here, but we were looking for something over here. We had a 4.9. That's almost a 5. Can we please have the blue off of there? Thank you. Yeah, the 4.9 is at a depth of 167, so that's more of a 5 right there at Taiwan there. Or no, that's a Philippines, sorry. Then, on this side, this was the naked side as well. Remember, I said it might fill in, and sure enough, we got a 4.7 here at a depth of 30. And a 4.5 at a depth of 10. So that's that mid-range 4 energy moving around. Nothing here at this fulcrum point for a while. This thing seems to be locked up. And you can see maybe there's some backed up energy. I don't know if it's backed up from this being locked up. But we do have a quake here again at the Nepal site that killed a bunch of people the other day. This time it's a 5.3 at a depth of 10. On the same geological feature as last time. Let's see if I can get this just right for you guys. That's a little too big. Well, this round feature right here, and it's discolored. When we pull back, you see everything around here is all lush and green, except for this area is all brown. Okay, most of these have really high peaks, snow-covered peaks all the way down the Himalayas, right? So the whole chain's got these just really super high peaks, except for this zone right here. It's got a couple little snow-crested ones, but look at this. See, this is it looks like like a bubble in the crust underneath. Lagolith. No, that's not Lagolith. That's a giant mountains, but this whole section seems to be a little different than the rest, and that's where it's been dumping off our quakes. This 5.3, expect to see maybe some aftershocks after this, and if this could continue to be a place that will drop off quakes, it seems we have a weakness in the crust there now, or a spot that likes to distribute that energy out from underneath. Okay, look how naked Europe is. Guess what's about to happen to them? 5, mid-range 4 to 5 energy coming in, dropping off quakes anywhere along these faults. Okay, maybe down here again where this three-way junction is. Watch out here in Turkey, even Iran, this fault line right here. Italy, Greece, the Mediterranean, still butt naked. There's no quakes in that area, so there's inbound energy coming in. Watch out for 4.5 to 5 range quake. Here we have old energy from yesterday, a 5.5 that finally made it to the north or to the mid-Atlantic ridge. Come on over to South America here. Let's start up top here. We got a 5.1 at a depth of 16. We also have 4.5 at a depth of 75. 4.2 at a depth of 169, so that's a little stronger. A 5.2 at a depth of 29. So a couple of 5s here and a couple of 4s. That's that mid-range 4 to 5 energy that was working up here, pushing straight across and hitting at our fulcrum points along the South America there. Okay. Let's go see what happened in Texas here. It's small, but I thought I saw more than one there. So we got the biggest of them is a 3.4, and this is White Cities, New Mexico. 2.8, a 2.8, and another 2.8. So a little quake swarm maybe going on here. Let's go see if it's the operations. No. This looks to be out in the Badlands. Yep, I don't see much sign of civilization except for one little dirt road. So this is some kind of underground activity, coming to this area right here. And even this little quake down here looks like it possibly associated with it too a little bit. If these are, these look like this little bubble of mountains right here, this little range right here. There's a valley on this side, that's where these happened, and there's a valley on this side, and that's where that one happened. So something going on underneath this, and we're having quakes on the flanks of it down in the little valleys there. Let me pull back out of that. Right there in Texas. And then this, a little further away, but we do have regional pressure in the region. So as we pull back, it's in that area. All right, nothing too much here, 2.9. And finally something on the Juan de Fuca here, and thankfully it's only a 2.5. All right, so some energy did make it over over this hump here, came down and dropped off a small one. Thankfully nothing too big. What's going on here? 2.5. And there's another quake there from today, another 2.5. This is just west of Yellowstone, Montana. There's some activity going on around this lake right here. Okay, well, we'll watch this region now for a while. Yeah, something underground going on there as well. Okay, so I think that's about it for a quake report. Just a few up here in Alaska, the biggest being a 4.1. Okay, so we do have 4 energy that has reached this area. So possible that it still could come over and drop off a, mid-range 3 to a 4 here in the Juan de Fuca. This may not be the end of energy on the Juan de Fuca here, because that's only 2.5. So there might still be some pent-up energy. You might even see a quake up in this area. Okay, you see these naked areas. Sometimes they need filling in, and that sounded strange. 4.5 off of Venezuela there to depth of 5. All right, so we're good there. Let's come on over to the null school. I got it set up on the fires for the moment. I just wanted to bring this to light here to the people of California. Here's Tahoe. Here's the bay. This is just north of the bay. This is in between, just just west of Tahoe, north of the bay, right. If you drew a line up and drew a line out, right in this area, it's probably around the geysers, or it might be just off the Central Valley there. But this area has a little pop-up of hot spots going on here. So there might be a little activity possibly going on here in Northern California as far as maybe earthquakes. There's some pressure underneath there causing hot spots. This one doesn't have much aurora anymore. It was nice and brighter earlier, but the fire's down there. Not much in South America right now. Or Africa, sorry. Alright, let's change it over to, oopsie, SO2. Just real quick. We're going to cover this. I want to take the fires off, though. Made it leave them on. Alright, you can see China's still spewing out. Oops. There we go. Most China right here, except for the Gobi Desert. A lot in India. Still here in the Middle East. Not so bad across Europe. Well, a little bit in this part, but not so bad across Europe. Let me take the wind off of there. That's what it is. Okay, now let's come over to America. Give you a little layout what's going on here. You can see it's still kind of divided. Bunch of sulfur coming out this side, not so much on this side. Let's move on. I want to take another little tour through the particulates. At SO4, this is also a sulfur compound. This has 4 oxygen molecules. It's a sulfide. I like to call it sulfur quad oxide because it has 4 oxygen molecules. And the white means the intensity of it, all right? So, as we kind of go around the world, you can see that we got some intense over here in Canada. This gas gets picked up in the storms. So when you see a storm front, it's usually got a bunch of it's pushing this gas around in the atmosphere. See, like for instance, see this big old curly one right here? You can see this gas has gotten caught up in the storm, right? Now, the white being the intensity of it, you can see that we have quite a bit of it going on the northern hemisphere. Okay, not so much over the Pacific right now. That's good. And then on the southern hemisphere, not so much. There's a little patch right here, but it's not too bad. All right, now this sulfite doesn't necessarily, it does come from the ground, but it also is man-made as well. Okay, but that's not what we're here to report on. See, the thing about this compound is SO4, which is sulfur quad oxide, I call it. SO4 likes to bond with H2O. You guys know what H2O is? It's water. And our planet is covered in water. It's in the air, it's on the oceans, it's all over, right? Well, this compound likes to bond with water to make a new compound called H2SO4. H2SO4 is also known as sulfuric acid. See, we got a problem. We got this compound SO4 just all over the place. It's bonding with water in the air, with water in the oceans, water everywhere, causing a acidic uh, atmosphere. Okay, sulfuric acid caught up in these storms, and when these storms move through and they dump a bunch of snow, go out and test the pH level of your snow. I dare you. You're gonna find out that you got sulfuric acid snow, rain, everything. Okay, so it's crucial to be aware of what's going on here. And when the levels get so high, depending on concentration levels, there's two reactions. Either the water bonds with the sulfur, or the sulfur turns around to bond with the water. And when the other way happens, it can be explosive and snap and crackle in the air and turn rain into fire. Capiche? So that's how rain could turn into fire, is the other missing ingredient, sulfur. The SO4 combines with H2O to make H2SO4. If you guys took chemistry in high school, college, you'll know I'm telling you the truth. Anyways, let's moving on. The other chemicals, we showed you SO2. That's the other sulfur compound. Now I want to show you CO2, okay? Everybody's saying, oh, the CO2 emissions are killing the planet. No, they're not. Look at the concentrations. There's some coming off up here. Okay, we got fires going on up here in Canada, all right? But let's go see who the major producer of CO2 is. See the green in that? That indicates higher levels. The red lower, brown medium, white, and then green. All right, so there's our culprit. Some coming out down here as well a little bit. Okay, but not so much coming from our country. Some out of LA area right down there. But this is all being blown around by the wind, all emitting from this area up here. Okay? Just for those people who thought CO2 was going to kill us all. Now this compound is CO. This is carbon monoxide. All right? Comes off the fires. You can see these fires up here, pumping out the smoke. And higher concentrations of CO there, carbon monoxide. Comes out of your tailpipes. It usually hangs out around big cities where we got smog, right? Like LA. Okay. Smog in the Central Valley here. Look who else pumps out a bunch of carbon monoxide. I wish this, that would be so much fun if this showed methane emissions. Then you can see where all the bullshit's coming from. Alright. So, there we go. Here, you want to see carbon monoxide over here as well. And over here as well. So those are your big producers of your chemicals that are supposedly killing the planet. But they don't understand. I guess nobody took chemistry that plants breathe CO2. They filter out the CO2 for us. It's plant food. When the plants thrive and take in a bunch of CO2, those little bastards emit oxygen for us to breathe. Imagine that. Maybe it's not the CO2 problem. These guys have been leading everybody down the wrong trail the whole time. I guess they just hoping that nobody took notes in class. Well, apparently they are wrong, because I did. You can see the smoke and stuff around these fires here. I still got the fires here on South America. Let me just kind of go in a little bit tighter. See these red dots pop up right here? Or even scooch it up a little bit or go in a little tighter. Alright, so the fires in this region causing the smoke, some high concentrations of carbon monoxide there. Bingo! I think we're done with that one, son. Let's come on over here to the forecast model. Go ahead and play and let that loop run for a minute. Excuse me. Let me take a sip here while this is running. So, this thing has been changing so much day to day that we're just kind of going to let the loop play here for a minute. Now, some things have kind of remained constant a little bit, but you can tell that this AI program, whatever this, they have predicting this model, is having trouble. It's struggling to keep up with these forecasts because before it would show you a forecast 16 days out and it was pretty darn close. It came, pretty reasonably close, but anything after 3 or 4 days changes now. So, especially with this energy coming off the sun, because that's what's affecting this weather some more. Now you see all that big, huge low now that showed up there. So let go one more time. There's a big low that formed. And then, where's the other one? Look at this coming in over here on the Pacific here. This one right there. So that's one to maybe watch out for there, but that's further down the pike. So, and it'll probably change too. So, let's get us backed up to current conditions. Can we see everything in the picture there? Why is this looking so low? I need to lift that up higher. Alright, well, we'll do that in the next show. I need to make a better mount so you guys can see better. Let's do as much as I can right there. Alright, so here's your current conditions right now with this low moving up out of Canada. I saw some video out of Canada today, they had some hail and snow, and so I was warning you guys up here, watch out for the storm. So it dumped a bunch of hail and a bunch of snow, kind of caught these guys off guard up there a little bit. Apparently they're not listening or paying attention. Anywho, this guy is right there, about to move out. We got this storm coming in on the Pacific Northwest. It's already reached my region. We've had rain and snow in the Sierras. There we go. That's the morning of the 7th. So tomorrow morning, and remember we had inbound energy coming in to affect this. So whatever this thing does, it shows a little bit of icing up here, just off of Maine, up here in Nova Scotia a little bit. But the backside of this has a lot of snow. There's icing in it. It's still a dangerous storm that has the potential to intensify. This is spreading out. You see how it's came in pretty organized, and now as it hits the Rockies, it spreads out. That's the noon time of the 7th. Here's the end of convection on the 7th. It gathers a little bit here on the Sierras, spreads deeper into the Rockies. Then we have the nighttime of the 7th, morning of the 8th, noon time of the 8th. There's the end of convection, the 8th. This doesn't look like much, but back up a frame. It doesn't look like much there, but as it gels and comes together, there's a small icing event again right in here, right? So lots of snow back up in here, lots of rain, and a possible icing event there on the end of convection on the 8th, all right? So the day after tomorrow, when the sun goes down, watch out in this region. And it might be a little further south. It could be a little further east. It could be anywhere in this region right here. The Great Lakes region dropping down into Pennsylvania, Ohio area, a little bit more into the eastern New York there, or western New York there. That region could possibly get caught off guard with this icing event because it goes into the nighttime. Watch how it forms here at the end of convection and then blossoms into the nighttime. Even this back up here has got uh, more continuity, more, it's coming together. Then it even strengthens into the morning hours of the ninth, hitting New York State, New Hampshire, Connecticut, heading up in that region. Okay, Massachusetts, maybe even. Even back here on the backside of this, well, that's up into Canada a little bit. So watch out, Canada. You guys have just got hit with the snow and hail. Watch out for it again on the 8th. This is the morning of the ninth. So this nocturnal event, starting from the end of convection right there when the sun goes down through the nighttime hours right there, could catch a lot of people off guard. And with the ninth, we got inbound energy coming. We've had it incoming every day for the last, 4 or 5 days. So the first 3 days of this forecast, you add some added energy to influence these storms and rapid intensification. Okay, or possible just more intensification. So watch this ice storm right there. I'm telling you, that's the morning of the ninth. Then it goes into the noontime of the ninth. Still goes up into Maine, the end of convection the ninth. And look how its tail has drooped back down into here, start to pick up moisture and cause severe thunderstorms into like Tennessee, or Mississippi, Arkansas, back down into Texas, as we have another band coming into the northwest up here. Then we get into the morning of the 10th right here. It stretches out, possible little stuff down in Texas, little severe weather on the coast down there. That's the noontime, convection, and then the nighttime. Now we got this little severe thing coming in here to Canada and Seattle area, the night of the 10th, morning of the 11th, into the noontime. The end of convection kind of dissipates. We have this off the coast here, but not too bad. There, we're getting into the morning of the 12th, noon. You can see we have another band coming on shore in the Pacific Northwest around the noontime of the 12th. There's convection. There's the nighttime of the 12th. Morning of the 13th, noon. Now down here in South Texas here, they're showing the 13th, this stuff coming together and gelling. We might have a little, depending on our lifted indices and stuff, there could be possible little tornadoes there maybe. And or wind shear, depending on those. Oh, we got. So that's the noontime of the 13th. Into the end of convection right here. So by the end of convection, it's still there. It's red and yellow, blossoming, possible water spouts coming on land here in Texas at sundown on the 13th. Then it dissipates at night a little bit. Kind of lingers off the coast a little bit in the morning there. That's the noontime of the 14th. Into convection. Another band coming into the Pacific Northwest here. So band after band hitting them. That's the nighttime of the 14th. There's the morning of the 15th. And then this event right here, getting severe weather here at the California-Oregon border, still calling for that on the 15th right there. As this new storm moves in the morning hours of the 15th, there's the noontime. Well, that's more 10 p.m. Pacific for the 10 p.m. for the Pacific coast. Sorry, I need to take another sip here. All right, so we have this pretty strong storm coming in here to Northern California. We'll watch this closely. This is the 16th, so that's a little further out there. All depending on what comes off the sun on the 13th could affect this and cause it to strengthen. We also have this thing creeping up down below here. You know what I need to do? Let me lift this computer up just a little bit more. Let me find something here. Actually, let's do this maybe. Because the tint in this camera, I want you guys to be able to see what's going on down below here. This guy, where'd my poster go? Creeping up from the south right here, coming off of Cuba, coming towards Florida, as this thing gets pretty intense here in California as well. Get some coloration, brightness as best I can for you guys. So, boom. Now, this thing looks gnarly as it approaches California. We'll watch that closely. This is pretty far out here, but this is an intense storm off the coast here. It doesn't seem to be heading towards land. They show it going back out on the 17th there. So, there's the morning of the 17th. Actually, let's back up a little bit. There's the morning of the 16th as this slams Northern California. Then we go into the noon, or the 10 p.m., 4 p.m., the end of convection there. That's the nighttime hours of the 16th. Drives into Nevada the morning of the 17th. This thing hopefully takes this track and doesn't like slam Florida. That's like the noontime East Coast right there. This gets into the Rockies on the 17th. Excuse me. Another band coming into the Pacific Northwest again on the 17th. That was the morning of the 17th. This is noontime. There's the end of convection there. Nighttime. So this big low, as it moves into the central part of the country, it's kind of invisible right here, but it's there. You can see the L sitting there, but watch as it takes all this stuff and starts to gather and come together. See this classic comma shape right there? So we'll have to watch out for this low when it moves through that part of the country. Hopefully it doesn't intensify then, because that could turn into quite an event right there. All right, so that was the 17th, 18th, and 19th. I'm not going to really call out the times because this is all going to change. It's kind of a waste of breath, but it is a model run forecast. Ooh, they're showing right here the morning of the 20th and into the noontime hours of an icing event up here in the Canadian, U.S.-Canadian border up there above Lake Superior. All right, and that's the rest of it kind of going on out. So I'm going to go ahead and let that play one more time and then get ready for tonight's spiritual report. Hopefully you all enjoyed that and you're not too bored with my format and the way I do things. Try to keep things semi-uniform, yet try to keep it a little random and interesting for you guys. Okay, now let me get out the words. Word. And I had a special one picked out for tonight. Actually, I had a couple. So, I have been dealing with some stuff, and I know you guys have too, because I can hear it in your prayers. And so I want to address this, and that's why I labeled or titled tonight's show "Strength and Weakness," because that's where we have our faults, right? Our weaknesses and our strengths and stuff. So time to start talking about that stuff. So bye forecast model. Let's come on over to the image. Please, Lord, bring up that image. Now, we're back to this one. I showed you the filtered one last night, but the original is so much more beautiful. So, I'll leave that sitting there. Actually, I can go full screen, I think, now. Bingo. Come on, full screen, please. There it goes. Push this back a little bit. So you guys are able to see it. I didn't do a very good job there. Let me do a smaller format. Actually, we're just going to play the video. Well, I get my word ready. Alright. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So I know there's a lot of activity going on the sun, but I really don't feel like reporting on that stuff right now. Actually, I want to go back and revisit an event that happened earlier this year, 2020, around Easter, when I captured what appears to be Jesus in the clouds here. So I need you to tilt your head to the right about 45 degrees, and here's an eye, his other eye, his nose, his mouth, his chin and beard, his hair flowing back like this, and you can make out a crown up here above his head. All right, cool. Hopefully, you guys can see that. Happened on Easter, an hour-long event. I gotta keep repeating that every time so you guys will get the desired effect of strength from it. Okay? Alright, now my lord with this one. Alright. The very essence of my words is truth. Absolute, unchanging, eternal truth. More and more people are falling for the lie that truth is either relative or non-existent. They are too cynical or too wounded to see that things are true, noble, right, or to see the things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and admirable. They tend to focus what is on what is false, wrong, and pure and ugly. This hurtful focus leads many to despair and self-destructive behavior. The God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel of my glory. The gospel radiates pure, powerful light that illuminates my glory, the wonder of who I am and what I have done. This good news has unlimited power to transform lives from despair to delight. All my children, filled with my Spirit, are well equipped to be light bearers, shining gospel brightness into the lives of others. I want you to join in this glorious venture using your gifts and the opportunities I provide. I know that you are weak, but that fits my purpose perfectly. My power is most effective in your weakness. I, the Lord, am your strength. On days when you are feeling strong, this truth may not speak powerfully to you. However, it is a lifeline full of encouragement and hope, and it is always available to you. Whenever you're feeling weak, your lack of strength can help you look to me and cling to this secure lifeline. You may call out to me at any time, Lord, save me! Let my unfailing love be your comfort. When you seem to be sinking in your struggles, it's crucial to hold on to something that will not fail you, something you can trust with your very life. My powerful presence not only strengthens you, it holds you close and doesn't let go. I have a firm grip on you, beloved. Because I am always near, there is no need to fear being weak. In fact, my strength comes into its own in your weakness. The two fit together perfectly. So thank me for your weakness, trusting my ever-present strength. Okay. Hopefully, you guys are getting strength from this. Okay. Your weaknesses, we all have weaknesses. Okay. But that's what this is about, is overcoming your weaknesses. That's what makes you stronger. If there wasn't something to test you, how are you supposed to get stronger, right? So, we all have weaknesses. He understands. He accepts them. And he knows. He knows every little detail about you. Okay? So he understands your weaknesses. All he's looking for is you asking him for the strength. I am disabled right now. It's hard to walk around. I'm not going to give details and complain, but I daily, to get out of bed, to go do errands, to do what I have to do just in my basic life, I am constantly relying on the strength that he provides. There's no other way I could do it. I should be paralyzed in a wheelchair, yet I'm still out running around doing this stuff because he gives me the strength every morning to do it. Okay? And pretty soon, that perspective is going to be so crucial for each morning that you wake up. As this stuff gets more and more intense, it's going to start driving people out of their minds, and you're going to have some security and some strength and some peace of mind knowing your Savior is here. It's true. It's real. It's happening. This is truth. What you see on the news is a bunch of deception. They don't want you looking up from your cell phone and seeing this in the clouds. You might freak out. Well, it's there and it's really happening, and I knew what to look for and knew how to capture it. God led me to this event so I would be there to capture it. There's no other explanation. That's the only one, and it's the truth. He led me to this spot on Easter and performed this in the sky over my head so I could capture it and bring it to you guys. Okay? So hopefully that brings you guys a little hope, a little strength. Okay? It's your flaws that kind of make you perfect, because it's overcoming those flaws and those, you know, your character defects that you have, trying to overcome those. And sometimes we can't overcome every single one of them. We try as hard as we can, and there's still this, and there's still that, and there's still something else, and you're like, I'm trying as hard as I can to stay out of this sin, Lord. I'm trying. You know what? This is a world of sin. It's impossible to escape it all. You're going to be surrounded and thwarted by it and tempted by it. He knows that. As long as you're willing to keep trying, just keep trying, all right? Be willing to repent. Be willing to keep trying. Even if you haven't gotten it perfect or whatever, you keep stumbling, things keep knocking you down, keep knocking you back. Just keep getting up and going, okay? Try not to complain too much about it. You'll see that you'll find peace and strength and hope in this image. You pray to him, know that your prayers are being answered. They're just being answered in the spiritual realm that you can't see. And usually the answer comes in the form of the opposite of what you prayed for, because then that's what challenges you to overcome it and become stronger. So a lot of people think if their prayers aren't answered, that the opposite happens, but that's the way it works sometimes. That's what makes you stronger. Um, this guy was like, I'm praying for money, Lord. I'm praying for all this money. And he got a job offer that day and turned down the job offer. But it was like, you didn't see it there, did you, bud? That was your opportunity for the money. He's not going to, just drop millions right in your hands, but he will give you the opportunity to make money. So look for your opportunities, take them when you got them, be good to each other. When you see an opportunity to help somebody, that's him giving you the opportunity. Maybe you have to drop what you're doing and it's inconvenient to you, but the consideration for others is going a long way right now. Those are the big points. When you're starting to do stuff for others out of consideration for them, out of the love in your heart, you don't want to see somebody else struggle, so you help them out. That's what he's looking for. Consideration for others, treating others right, being truthful and honest with people. That way we don't go to war and start fighting each other because we've been lying to each other. And one last thing I heard him talking about today is how crazy is this going to be when you guys go out into the streets and start shooting at each other over somebody else screwed you over. So your neighbor going to come over here and get mad and try to shoot you and take your stuff because somebody else screwed both of you over? Somebody like Joe Biden and this whole administration, all those people. So they get to come along as the thief in the night, screw you over, and then you're going to take it out on somebody who didn't do it to you. So you better start thinking rationally, people out there. When you start thinking, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and if somebody comes along, blah, 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 you better start thinking rationally. That's your brother. You better figure out a way to mend fences and instead of shooting each other, teaming up to rescue each other. More hands meet for light work, and there's going to be a lot of work to do. So we're going to need a lot of hands, all hands on deck, and in a team, right? And this fraudulent government is faltering. And I think you guys could see what might possibly be coming down the pike here soon. So just stay strong, stay in your faith, keep living your daily life. Don't let them steal your joy. Your joy is your strength. The moment you start getting down and, oh, I can't do this anymore, that's the moment he's won. So keep fighting. It's a good fight. You're fighting the good fight. You can see. You can see it's paying off for you. All right? If you're here for a reason. You're here at this channel for a reason, okay? There is an elite. It's not them. They're the criminal elite. You are the elite. The people here at this channel that are looking at this image and listening to my voice right now, that makes you guys special. You're my family. You're the audience that knows more than most people do. When you go into the store, when you go anywhere in public, you are one in a million. Well, those other people around have no clue about what's going on except for you. So when I get like 300 views maximum, and there's 300 million people in this country, do the math. That makes you, my viewer, one in a million. You see how this works? See how important this is? Do you see how blessed you are? I want you to take that blessing and share it with your loved ones before it's too late. Time is winding down. It's time to get everybody on board, because there might be a day later, in the future, they'll be in agony in hell going, why didn't you tell me? You knew and you saw. Why didn't you tell me? So now is the chance to get your loved ones, your friends, family, your pizza guy, your mailman, whoever it is that you love, that you want to see saved. Maybe this can be, a little help nudging them a little bit over to open up the Bible and start reading the Word. Because once you start reading the Word, you understand that all this is true and you see it going down. As believers, we see what's happening here. But for somebody who's never read the Bible or doesn't know the story or doesn't know any of the prophecies, the stuff happening in the news just looks like the news. To us, we see the prophecy in it. And then also, we're talking about prophets. People were asking, what a prophet is. And at this juncture, at this time, right now, anybody who is speaking the word from the gospel, trying to tell anybody else, trying to waken them or, inform them of Jesus and the Bible, that's evangelizing. That's you're trying to win souls for the Lord, and that's what this is about in these closing days here. Okay? So everybody get out there, try to help out as much as you can. Random acts of kindness, forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. And it's not always for the other person, it's for your own mental state. If you carry around this resentment in a backpack full of rocks and you got another rock of resentment and you throw it in that backpack, it's just going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. And pretty soon you're just going to have a backpack full of resentment rocks that weigh a ton that you're lugging around, and the people that you're resentful about don't even know or care anymore. All that wasted time and energy, they drag you down. So don't let that capture your mind. Don't let that take control. All right? Be careful how much of the news you watch. It's important to watch some, to be, stay in the loop or whatever, but don't be controlled by it. Don't let it get the best of you. Oops. I unplugged my mic. There we go. Don't let it get the best of you. It's important to stay informed, but don't dwell on it too much. This is what you should be dwelling on right here, because it's the real deal, and this is what's going down. Okay? He's here. He's walking around right now. taking notes. He's making a list and checking it twice. He's going to find out who's naughty and nice. It's not Santa Claus, it's Jesus Christ who's coming to town. All right? So that's it for tonight. I love you all. God bless you all. I miss you guys. I miss you all so much. And soon we'll all be together again. So hang in there. Until my next show, I'll be back. Actually, I am back. Can't you tell?